What had happened was, how'd it go? There's no footage. Arigani means what's the news. So Arigani, y'all, today's the first day of Kwanzaa. We had our first candle lighting ceremony at the Daily Press. Originally we were gonna start at 8:30, except there were 3 of us there, and instead the ceiling started raining. So the first day you light the center candle, which is the black one, which is the unity candle. All right, that's for Umoja. So, like, literally, it's a Kwanzaa tradition to like be running around and be able to get the green candles, the red candles, the black candle. Like, literally, we definitely colored one with a Sharpie one year. Like, that was like dire straits. It was like the day of, and we're like, oh my gosh, we knew we had to replace the black candle. What happened? We dropped it, guys. Yeah, we tried dipping our own, but we ended up with a weird purple in the past. This year we dipped our own and it worked. So anyway, that's, if you can't find a black candle, you're invited to join us at the Daily Press every day of Kwanzaa this week, except New Year's Day. We were about to get started with the candle lighting, and literally, like, I look up and there is like a little drip coming from one of the lights. And they're like, oh, okay, that's happened before. Let me grab a bucket, put it up there. I'm chatting with this other regular, Zelda. I only learned her name today, but we were chatting because both of our parents used to be landlords. And we were like, oh my gosh, remember when we would have to go and bail out the basement because of some disaster, and like, all hands on deck? Who's the hands? We are the hands. and then the ceiling started raining. So then we were like, oh, all hands on deck. Let's unplug everything. These are electronics. Let's get these out of the way. The coffee beans, we don't want those getting wet. So we moved everything from the morning bar to the evening bar, because the front half's a cafe and the back half's a bar, because that's how you pay rent in New York City. Anyway, so it's a great third space. There are like probably like 6 or 7 people there. There was like another regular who came with their parents or family. I don't know. Families in town for Kwanzaa. A circle, you know, because Kwanzaa is about the community and the cycle of life, all that jazz. I'm like sort of low-key planning for the future, like low-key understanding past, present, future for the community. And then we go all the way around Kujichakulia, Ujima, Ujama, Nia. We definitely were in the spirit of community today. So we're filling out the rest of this board over the course of the week. Let's see. Community flood management. That's what I'm gonna put for Umoja this year. Definitely started out with a bang, with a splash. We made a splash. Okay, so we had the candle lighting ceremony, which honestly was just like a sort of like introduction to how to have host Kwanzaa. It was my first time hosting Kwanzaa, which was good because there were only 2 people who had, like, including me, who had done Kwanzaa before. We went on with the candle lighting ceremony. We finally got all of the water and whatnot cleared away, and Umoja had some coffee back on. And for the candle lighting, we lit only 1 candle for today. Kwanzaa is 7 days, so there's 7 candles, and each successive day you light an additional candle. First day is unity. It's Umoja, like the black candle, because unity. Black unity, the diaspora wars must end. Red representing the bloodshed in the past, and the green representing the hope for the future. I introduced the basics of each night, so like the name of it, the Swahili name, Kujichagulia, and the principle, self-determination. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kuumba, creativity. And Imani, faith. After I introduced the principles, we talked about the origin of Kwanzaa. A lot of people working on Christmas. The week after Christmas, the 26th to the 1st, was usually the week you were given off to go and like visit your family or whoever. The week of Sundays, which is sort of the origin practice of Kwanzaa, during slavery in the South, you would get like the week after Christmas off, not Christmas Day, but December 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, all the way up to New Year's Day. People would typically go and visit like whatever family they had in the area, or like within reasonable travel distance, a few days walking. As often there was, you know, tragedy and you never saw someone again. And then more often, yo massa sold yo daddy to his friend massa daddy, so now you gotta go with a bag and overnight and a meal to visit your dad or your mom or whoever. Not to downplay the oppression, but we were living like there was still life. People did still have family connections. And the week of Sundays as a practice, the community aspect and celebrating all of the ways in which we have thrived and all of the history that we don't necessarily learn in school, and maintaining sort of and a lot of Kwanzaa is about like cyclical like reproduction of our own community. It's definitely like the week of Sundays as a practice definitely like also is still practiced in the South, really like socially and informally. Like the week after Christmas, I mean, people work, but like nobody's like working, nobody's at work late. You are just kind of floating around to other people's houses, get you a place, sit around at your friend's house, sit around at your cousin's house, which is, I don't know, it made Kwanzaa feel like very, I don't know, black. But when I moved to Brooklyn, I was thinking, you know, I'm going from like South Atlanta to Brooklyn. There's black people in Brooklyn. I was like, okay, so you know, I'll just, you know, step on into Brooklyn, and there'll be Kwanzaa happening in Brooklyn. There's not Kwanzaa necessarily, like just around in the water in Brooklyn. Like in Atlanta, South Atlanta at least, there's like public Kwanzaas around. Like you could go. Usually, like we would have like different friends' houses we could do. But
are there Kwanzaa sales?
Yeah, I feel like. It feels like there's less of them now, but like flea market, there's a flea market near Grady Hospital, like the big public hospital in Atlanta. That's my mom's that. And it's really interesting as a place to like grow up celebrating Kwanzaa, because it's not that everyone celebrated Kwanzaa, but like people tended to, I don't know, 50-50 shot they know what it was. Because sometimes when I invite people, they'd be like, we're Christian. Kwanzaa's not a like religious holiday, it's a cultural holiday. Because also, like, the diaspora includes many religions. It wouldn't make sense if it was, like, a one-religion holiday, because we're not, like, a one-religion people. So Kwanzaa is about unity across the diversity of the diaspora or whatever. I was usually not the only one who celebrated Kwanzaa, but it was often, like, someone's first Kwanzaa every year, like, of my life of Kwanzaa. So it's also... I don't know, as an adult, like, I definitely have, like, a conception of it as, like, a gift you give to other people, which is, and also, like, I settled in Brooklyn and whatnot, I got married here, I taught here for, like, 7 years, still teach in Brooklyn, I just teach in a different part of Brooklyn, actually, the part of Brooklyn I first taught in, I teach in now. So, the gift I'm giving to Brooklyn, Kwanzaa, at the Daily Press, on Rockaway in Fulton. Tonight's the first night, it is Umoja. We invite you to join us for the other 5 nights and then the 7th night online. We will be celebrating in person at the Daily Press at Rockaway and Fulton Avenue. The times are staggered throughout the day. Check out us on Instagram at nyc.quakers. The dot is important. There is a feud. I guess it's to do with the lack of Kwanzaa. It is a feud about a lack of Kwanzaa. A lack of Umoja.
Not very Moja of them.
Not very
Ujima.
Not very, oh my gosh. Not Ujima, not
Ujama.
Nia,
not Ujama.
Not Kulani. Supposed to be him. I find it interesting because I knew, okay, so like, I call them crunchy granola black people now because the internet has given us that. So the demographic that celebrates Kwanzaa. So, as a kid, we had like a little crew of like, you know, those who celebrated Kwanzaa, because we would be visiting each other's houses. My mom's friends and then some of my friends that celebrated Kwanzaa like kind of got like sort of in that group. Chicken and the egg situation definitely in Atlanta. And so I think a lot of, I would say Christmas and Kwanzaa was like the most common. I could think of like 4 households that definitely did Christmas and Kwanzaa. And then a handful that did only Kwanzaa. And also a few, at least one that did Kwanzaa and Ramadan. Then I would like, invite people around from school, summer camp, whoever, honestly, anyone. When you're hosting Kwanzaa, you have your candles, your 7 candles. And after you light the candle, we have, I don't know, it's a small ceremony. And definitely there's variation. I've been to a bunch of people's houses. I've been to community Kwanzaa. There's definitely a lot of wiggle room in like sort of the process. Sometimes there's a speaker. Sometimes there's like art presentation type thing. Sometimes there's like an activity, crafts. It really depends on the Kwanzaa. You have your candles, you have your altar. It has a name in Swahili. I do not remember it right now.
What?
Straw man, yeah, the candle holder. And the candle holder can be anything. Like my grandmother in like most of my life had like 7 cups of rice and 7 candles. The Kanara can be anything. That's just whatever you have holding your candles. Your Mkeiko, which is the straw mat. High key, just to keep the wax off of everything. Very functional here. A basket with fruit. Have we gotten creative with fruit in the past? Yes. But generally you would have like an ear of like Indian corn for each child in the household. And if you have no children, just like 1 ear for like the community, the future children, the children of the spirit. You also have your libations vase. It's okay, so there's the unity cup and the libations vase. The miniatures. Good. Right here we have our Kanara, you have your Mkeika, you have your fruits out in a basket, probably because it was easier to draw. You have your unity cup, this one, which is your Kikombe cha Umoja.
There we go.
Your unity cup and your libations vase. And basically we honor our ancestors. And this can be our collective ancestors, your personal ancestors, someone in the room's ancestors. Exactly. Black ancestors at minimum. If you're not sure if or whomst your personal black ancestors are, that's fine. Name a public one. Harriet Tubman always, like, basically always comes up. Malcolm X always. James Baldwin in our house, pretty much always. Shirley Chisholm for Brooklyn, right? It varies, but there's generally some speaker or activity or something. And then we have the libations, which are, like, if you've ever seen somebody pour a little bit of their drink out in the street, or the homies who aren't here or whatever, that is basically rooted in the same practice. We state the name of an ancestor or a relative, a collective one or a personal one. We pour a libation into a plant. You have the libation vase, you can have a plant. I often do a potted plant. And then we say Ashe. Typically, like, every year, MLK, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Bayard Rustin, Andrew Young all come up pretty consistently. And then, you know, any family, anyone who's recently passed, there should be, like, black relatives and ancestors in general. If you're not sure of your personal ones, collective ones are fine. Then, to close out, you do your candle lighting. Generally, you have either the youngest person light the candle or the oldest and the youngest person, if the youngest person maybe needs help lighting candles, depending on how young the youngest person is. One year it was like, I think, than their grandmother. It was really precious. Definitely want to and light the candle, and then we always closed out by singing the Black National Anthem, which is "Lift Every Voice and Sing." Like, if you didn't know it, my mom had printouts, and then we would lead everyone in singing it. It's also singing together is a very traditional activity. Dunno, it just is. Where's it from? The OGs. Kwanzaa community is about our heritage, cultural holiday. Singing is part of the culture. If you've ever been to a black church, you know this. If you haven't been to a black church, you probably still know this. All right, we invite you to join us the rest of the week. We'll be hosting 5 more days in person, and then this last night, Imani, on Instagram Live. Schedule is posted on our Instagram at nyc.quakers. The dot is important. There is a feud.